Well, we are back and we are, I think, fully recovered. At least Kyle, Bree, and myself, we're recovered from the parade on Friday. Derek Bodner, not
Derek's
so
got
much.
the parade flu.
He's got the parade flu, so it's just us three here with you today. And thankfully, all of you in the chat. Welcome to a Monday edition of the PHLY Sixers Podcast. Hanging out with you, presented by Bet365. As always, download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Kyle Newbeck, Devon Givens, Bree here producing. All of you, we're great to see you in the chat. We have a ton to get to, folks, from Paul George injections. How about some super chats that we have to get to? Because we were so excited about getting back on the parade route when we left to get back here. The super chats, we forgot them. We'll bring those to you in a little bit. We have to certainly talk about some all-star things overall and just some fun things to discuss in general. But we do have to talk about All-Star Weekend.
And be the cranky old men that we are.
Let's
Devon.
be the cranky old men because, man, All-Star Weekend, it was bad. It was not what we're used to, even in the normal format where we can complain about why do they have each two teams have 200 points in this game? There's no defense being played. But even that is better than what we saw some of this weekend because, to be transparent, I did not watch a lot because it was so bad. I had no interest in it. So I decided to just simply stay away from it and do some other productive things with my life over the weekend.
Like wash dishes or
laundry, put some things away that I know need to be put away, get rid of some things that needs to be getting rid of. And it was just one of those weekends where, number one, we talked about it last week. The season in 54 games, 20-34. It's a disappointing one for the Sixers. They needed a break. We needed a break. And the break that we thought we were at least, all right, let's see what's going on with the All-Star break, All-Star weekend. Maybe that'll give us a little bit of, hey, we're missing basketball a bit. But, Kyle, it was not good at all. And washing the dishes, the laundry, a few movies, and putting some things away.
You watch any good movies?
I watched Mile 22, Mark Wahlberg.
Okay.
It's a good one. Yeah, I watched that one. Got a little bit of Marvel in because it was on, so I checked it out. So a couple of things that were there that I watched. That was better than...
You didn't watch the new one, right?
No,
the Captain America one?
No, I haven't seen that yet. But yeah, those were way better than what the All-Star Weekend presented itself to be.
I watched A Star Is Born for the first time,
okay.
So that was very good, although it was not what I was expecting for the final hour.
I still haven't watched it.
No spoilers for anyone in the chat. Recommend
5
watching
years later.
it, though. So I'll get to the player component of All-Star later, and I do think that's kind of the root of all problems. I will say last night was the first time that I was like, the league really screwed this up, right? And that was my takeaway going in, that I didn't like the format. I tried to be open-minded, like, hey, let's see what the results of this are. I think you got basically one semi-competitive mini game out of 3, and that was the Rising Stars against the Team Shaq, right, with Dame and Durant and all those, the guys who ended up winning. This is the league taking people's complaints about All-Star and then saying, you know what we should do? Give them less basketball, right? Like, that was a 3-hour broadcast where I think you had the exact number, but for me it felt like a 3-hour broadcast and you got 30 to 35 minutes of basketball. I think you said it was somewhere around 40.
Someone reported that you got about 40, 42 minutes of basketball.
That's something I'm not going to go back and explicitly fact check. But I think watching them take all these intermissions where it's like, okay, you get 10 minutes of basketball and then it's 45 minutes of, I don't know, Mr. Beast giving $100,000 to a guy having a shootout against Damian Lillard. There's a concert in the middle. There was a 20-minute TNT ceremony mid-game for the final where it's supposed to be, hey, we're talking up competitiveness. We need you guys to try and be locked in and all that. And then, first of all, immediately they go down 11-1 in the first game. And then there's a 20-minute break. And it's like, how is that supposed to foster any kind of exciting or competitive basketball environment? You are, with your actions, telling the players that the game is a sideshow to everything else. And I know that that's more of the mood of All-Star, but I think basketball fans want to watch basketball. If basketball fans wanted to watch a concert, they could watch a concert, right? You can stream concerts all the time. It was SNL 50 last night, right? If you wanted to go watch comedy, which the Kevin Hart part, I'm sure you and I can talk about at some point, you could go watch SNL. If you wanted to watch, SNL had a whole concert thing Friday night as well. You have options to do all these things. You had one option for basketball, and they made sure you got as little of it as possible. So that's where you have to start, right? Is like, if you don't give consumers what they want, why would they care about it? Why should they care about it?
And you always talk about the fans being most important when it comes to this. The other part of it is basketball players are creatures of habit. So when you talk about taking these breaks, 20-minute breaks, I saw something the other day where Joe Mazzulla, the head coach of the Boston Celtics, said, I don't even like halftime. And we're talking normal, regular season games.
That was really funny, man. It's like, just play it, just straight up.
Just give a little break and let's get right back at it. But look, and I don't agree with him there, but they are creatures of habit. So yes, while this is it's an exhibition game, it's a different environment. You're out there to have fun. They're going to do all these things. And Kyle said we'll get to the player part of it, but I'm just speaking on the league when you're looking at it from the fans and then the players. The fans, yes, Kyle was absolutely right. But then when you get to the players, these guys have to go and get re-warmed up. You're waiting around. God knows what they're doing in the locker room. Just a lot of those
guys, like Kevin Durant's in his mid-30s, Dame Lillard's in his mid-30s. Like, they don't want to have to re-warm up, and you're subjecting guys to potential, muscle injuries.
No, and then when you get the fans sitting in the arena, and the fans are sitting in the arena, and Kyle, the players are coming back out. We already saw the warm-up pregame. You get 2 of those before the game starts, coming out of halftime. That's it. Not like this. And that's where, again, as you just pointed out, this whole thing is wrong. Whatever it is, you have been very clear that you have not been a big all-star person in your lifetime. I have been a big all-star person where I'm a nut.
When it's good, it's really good.
Yeah, and I'm a nut. I used to record them on VHS when I was a kid, man. Yeah, go back and watch them because it was more entertaining for what they did. You were showing me a video before we got started of one that was in Oakland. Shaq, Iverson, Tim Duncan, Jason Kidd, Eddie Jones with the Charlotte Hornets at that time, playing in this all-star game where it's competitive. And while things have gotten away from what the competitiveness used to be, where I used to love it and couldn't wait for all-star game Sunday night, my mom and my dad used to let me stay up and watch it. When I was a kid, it is nowhere near close. And whatever Adam Silver has figured out with whatever committee he's sitting down with, and they're trying to hash things out, trying to find new ways to keep it competitive and fun. And remember the horse game back in a couple of years back where they tried that? That was a fail. Reports are, as I was looking at Front Office Sports on Twitter, some major changes could be coming to 2026 NBA All-Star Weekend. Here it is, folks, if you didn't hear it. Don't know that this is true. This is at least a report from Front Office Sports. $1 million one-on-one tournament. I'm out. 5 p.m. Eastern start time. No thanks. Big name stars in the dunk contest. What's the incentive? They haven't done that at all in the last few years. The last good all-star dunk contest that we saw was Zach LaVine with Aaron Gordon going head-to-head, and they were fantastic in it. But there was even a gap in there before that one was really good of where we have seen good dunk contests. We can also go back to dunk contests where we thought they were good, but then guys get robbed because you let Nate Robinson
Iguodala, man. I'll never get over that
20 dunk attempts for a guy who, yes, I love it. 5'9" guy going out there and dunk. We know he can dunk. That's why he's there. But if he lost, he lost. And then when you give all these players all of this extra time to finally complete a dunk, does it mean that it was as good as the 6'7" guy who did some other crazy thing that he got it on the first or second try? So that's where the NBA All-Star Weekend is lost on me now at this point. San Francisco was a really good location. A lot going on there.
Although apparently there was like a Chinese New Year parade or there's some type of event where
at the same time
I saw there were some media members who couldn't get to All-Star Saturday because the parade route went through like between where the hotels and It was like a very funny, like, man, everything's just happening at once, I guess. I don't know. I think it was Chinese New Year.
Okay.
You'd have to, I'm not as up on that. I just know there was some sort of parade in that area where it was like, not getting to this.
Not getting there. No. But look, Los Angeles next summer. It's going to, I mean, next year it's going to be in Los Angeles in 2026. That's another really good location.
Is that at the, that's the Intuit Dome?
That's at the Intuit
Steve
Dome.
Ballmerland?
Yes, exactly. So they need to figure this out, and they need to figure it out fast. And Kyle, I don't know how you feel about the $1 million one-on-one tournament or the 5 p.m. start time, if that really matters at all. And then the big names in the dunk contest, they haven't done that in years. So you have to give them some real incentive for them to do it. And all the stuff with Ja Morant and others on Giannis on social media saying they would do it. Guys, you would have done it already if you were going to do it.
I'm going to get to those guys eventually.
And by the way, the ladies from WNBA had a one-on-one tournament in their league in the
was it Unrivaled, I believe?
Yeah. All right, I'm sure it was pretty cool.
And Brianna Stewart lost 12-0. I'm pretty sure.
To that team, piece of Collier. Yeah, Collier smoked her in that one. But I mean, come on, man, it is not good. And I'm different from Kyle. I used to love it. As he said, when it was good, it was good. This is not the Pro Bowl, though. The Pro Bowl left a long time ago as far as the competitiveness, where now they do the flag football and all these other weird things that I don't watch that either anymore. I don't want it to get to the Pro Bowl level. It's starting to creep into the Pro Bowl level.
So here's what I would say. But I think after our first break, I'll lay into the players and where they're at on this. One of the things that I really didn't like about the format for it, that I didn't even think about it this way going in, was if you're on the teams that lost, and one of them was a Rising Stars team, so it's like, whatever, we don't need to see tons of them. But if you're on that first team that lost, I guess it was Team Kenny, right? And you're a first-time All-Star, you're a guy that you've never been through this experience before, or you're a fan of one of those guys. The example I brought up to you, Devon, pre-show was Cade Cunningham, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, first-time All-Star, broke through this season. Pistons are trending upward after being one of the worst teams in recent NBA history last year, having a horrendous losing streak, yada, yada, yada. And you get this opportunity. Your fans got to see you for what? Like 4 minutes, and it was a game to 40 where there's just, you have no way to do anything fun or exciting or like, hey, that's cool. I got to see Cade Cunningham play with XYZ. Like, oh, that's really cool. Not just for what you see there, but hey, maybe if Cade can team up with so-and-so down the road, that would be interesting, right? One of the things we've learned in recent years is that All-Star Weekend is a breeding ground for, like, if guys are going to try to link up on a team at a later date, that's where the seeds are planted. They start to build the relationships with some of these guys.
Paul George, Joel Embiid.
Exactly. They talked openly. Well, that one ended up being negative, it looks like right now. But you get the point. Like KD and Kyrie, there's a lot of smoke coming out of stuff like that. But when the game's to 40, that game's not going to last that long. And the subs were to a point where, like, in the final game, I think Şengün checked in when the game was basically over. It's like, imagine being a Rockets fan. You've been riding for Şengün for several years while the team wasn't quite good enough yet. And he's playing the most garbage of garbage time possible. So, like, also imagine how that feels as the player, right? You go through everything you do to make an all-star team, all the work, all the games you go through, especially on the rebuilding type teams. Lost seasons where you're 20-62 or whatever it is, and you finally have a moment and it's like, this is it? That's all I got? Like, that has to be such a deflating feeling. So I don't agree with everything. I know Draymond's comments went really wide about the Rising Stars part of it, and I don't so much care about that part. But I do think if you drill down deeper and get at, like, the essence of what he's saying, these guys work really hard for this opportunity. And then even if they had come out and played as hard as humanly possible, right, which is not going to happen in an all-star game, you're constricting their ability to show what they have and, like, actually make use of that opportunity. So I thought that was a colossal failure, but I do think the problem starts with the players, and we'll talk about
the players on the other side, because the players, it's a problem with them too. Adam Silver, the players. We'll discuss it all as we keep it going here on the Monday, back from the weekend. We all needed a break, and then they go give us that product in San Francisco at the All-Star Weekend. How do you fix it? Can they fix it? Are you still interested? The players part of it. We'll get to that next right here on the PHLY Sixers Podcast presented by Bet365. And if you are a fan of the All-Star Weekend and you're looking at Los Angeles as one for next February and you're saying, you know what, I'm going to go out there and I'm probably going to have some of my local players playing in that game. You got to save some of that money. And if you spend it all in the holiday shopping, TrueMark Financial has a way for you to recoup some of that, save, and get ready for that trip to Los Angeles for the 2026 All-Star Weekend. If that money and the credit card balance is weighing you down from the holidays and you want to save now, think about this. What if you could pay it off faster and with zero interest until 2026? It's true, because TrueMark Financial is offering zero interest on balance transfers for 12 months. So all your payments can go toward reducing your balance, not just to covering interest. Here's the play, though. Transfer your existing balance from another institution to TrueMark Financial Visa credit card. Take advantage of this amazing offer. Folks, you now have about 11 days to do so, because you have to apply by February 28th, 2025 to take advantage of this great offer from TrueMark Financial. Whether you're interested in earning rewards, cash back, or simply prefer a lower rate for everyday purchases, with TrueMark Financial, you can choose the credit card that best fits your financial needs. Visit TrueMark.com/compare for full details and to apply today. TrueMark Financial, federally insured by the NCUA, equal opportunity lender. Terms and conditions apply. All loans subject to approval. 3% balance transfer fee applies. Standard rates apply after the promotional rate.
And guys, if you save a little bit of money, a lot of things you could spend it on, but I think you should get yourself a pair of premium polarized shades from our friends at Shady Rays, who are helping you get in the right frame of mind with the premium polarized shades that will not break the bank. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company offering a world-class product, rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. How can you argue with that? They have durable frames, crystal clear optics. They are the perfect choice for all outdoor adventures. And although I'm not much of a skier or a snowboarder myself, I know Derek is. Perhaps that's why he abandoned us today. He wanted to go hit the slopes. Shady Rays also has a brand new collection of snow goggles to help you see clearly and look good on the slopes, because let's face it, everybody, you want to protect your eyes, but you got to look stylish while you're doing it too, right? Or what is it actually all for? Shady Rays always has you covered. Here's the best part, guys. If those shades ever go missing, or the goggles ever go missing or take an unexpected hit, do not sweat it. They have the most insane protection in all of eyewear, every pair backed by lost or broken replacements. And if you don't love your shades, you can exchange them for a new pair or return them worry-free within 30 days, because with Shady Rays, it is no risk shopping. They have your back with personal and fast support. So PHLY viewers and listeners, go to shadyrays.com and save 35% off of polarized sunglasses with the code PHLY. Over 300,000 people have rated Shady Rays 5 stars. So use code PHLY today at shadyrays.com.
Welcome back to the PHLY Sixers Podcast presented by Bet365. You can take those Shady Rays next year to the All-Star, LA. You know what I'm saying?
The lights are bright.
Lights are bright out there.
Shady Rays got you.
You know what? I hope you had your shades on Friday, because weather-wise, without the cold, it was a perfect Friday for the parade. And we hope that you also, while you had your Shady Rays on, that you taking a look at our collection for the Gold Standard Collection. We were telling you about the T-shirts last week, folks, after the Birds won the Super Bowl. Everybody's still basking in it. Well, check out the hoodies now. If you heard us last week when we were talking about the T-shirts, me and Kyle looked at each other and said, you know what?
I was like, man, I want
These
that,
need
that
to be
Birds
on
on a hoodie. And look what they did.
They're
put
on
it
a
on a hoodie.
Store.allcitynetwork.com. Go get the hoodie now. Now we're going to have the T-shirts and the hoodies that we're going to rock here on the PHLY Sixers show. We're still very jealous that those guys have a Super Bowl championship to discuss. That was great coverage by Bo, Zach, Fran, Jamie, and the team, Vinny, Les, everybody. We're jealous of that part of it, but we also get to wear the gear that they are having for the Gold Standard Collection. So please take advantage. Go check out AllCity store.allcitynetwork.com to get your hoodie, get your t-shirt, get your glasses. I saw some drinking glasses that you have, some flags that are also available. Post them up in your man cave, the lady cave, whatever you have there for your home, and go take advantage of it. Store.allcitynetwork.com. I'm on the green hoodie. It's a fantastic hoodie. Love it. Love it. Already taking orders for my family because they're like, all right, get this one. Cool. Got it. Done.
I'll be honest. I've seen some merch elsewhere. I think some of the Super Bowl merch has been a little underwhelming. So
pretty weak.
Yeah. So if you can support the good guys, we would obviously love that.
Appreciate it. All right. Let's talk about the players not supporting All-Star Weekend the way that they should.
Well, so I wanted to open with the commissioner because I think this weekend was an example of format killing the product, even if the players had been really revved up for it. But something I've been chewing on for a while is this idea of player empowerment, right? Like, I think as a broad concept at the base level, it's good that the players who are the most important thing about the league have more say, have more agency, can be involved in decision-making and, all that, because at the end of the day, I watch basketball for the players. I'm not watching for ownership. I'm not watching for coaches. I'm not watching for anything except for what is between those lines, right? And so those guys, they deserve to get paid well. They deserve to have some say in where they go and when and yada, yada, yada. But if that is true, if you are a believer that players can and should have more say in how the league runs, then you can't also say, well, this product sucks and they have nothing to do with it, right? A big reason why the NBA stepped in and was like, we're just going to change how this whole weekend and this whole game operates is because the players have essentially showed you with their actions for years and years, we don't care. And we don't think it's worth our time, our effort, the risk of injury, whatever it is, to try basically at all. And so it turned into, over the last, let's say 5 years especially, but 5 to 10 years overall, it's just a glorified pull-up shooting contest is what it is for most of the games. And I just think and I've seen tweets, I've seen quotes, Kevin Durant said today, I think it's more fun to complain about the NBA than to actually watch it, and said to cancel All-Star Weekend and give everybody a break. It's like, dude, you can hear constructive criticism. Everything doesn't have to be, you don't have to put your fingers in your ears and go, la, 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 I can't hear you, nothing's wrong. Clearly something is wrong. You're hearing from fans, you're hearing from media, you're hearing from lots and lots of people. This thing sucks. And it should be, even if I'm not an all-star person generally, there are lots of people like you who either grew up loving it or want to embrace it and continue watching it and loving it. And there are a lot of people, players, coaches, owners, but players specifically in this example, who are just saying, I don't really care. We're getting paid lots of money. We do all these events. And it's not worth my time to care. I really did appreciate, on the other side of it, Victor Wembanyama for that reason. And I've appreciated what he has said and what his approach has been in general over the first 1.5 seasons of his career, which is I'm going to give everything I can to every game that I can play in, right? Some of that is he had not played back-to-backs and he's able to rev it up as much as he can. But he came into that game as I'm going to play defense. I'm going to protect the rim. I'm going to run hard. And so watching him as a contrast to these other guys just going, just sticking an arm up and doing nothing, that's what it requires, right? It requires players taking ownership of this game and saying, it's not because we're making tons of money for this game, although All-Star is a very profitable event for the NBA. It's not because this means something in the broader scale. It's just that this is a basketball game that the best players in the league, as voted by various people, are here for. Let's make it a real basketball game. At a certain point, you can change the format. You can they added the charitable element. They've done the Elam ending. They've now turned it into a tournament. There are only so many things you can change before it comes back to the players have to care. And the players need to care not just about this, but about the health of the product in general. And people like to dismiss that because they got this big media TV rights deal. And it's just like, well, all's well that ends well. That's going to carry us for the next 8 years. But the longer you sit and pretend you have a problem, the more likely it is that you end up like baseball, right? Where baseball had to completely shift some things with the actual sport and the actual season because they pretended like they could just keep doing the same things over and over and not care about it for so long that a lot of younger generation fans were like, well, screw this, I'm out. Why should I care about it? And I think taking a hands-off approach and saying it's somebody else's problem to figure out is how you end up here.
So then you go to the other side of the Kevin Durant part, where I agree with you, and you know I'm a Kevin Durant guy. That made no sense for him to say that.
Yeah.
Player like Trae Young, who is an injury replacement, he's in the All-Star game. They asked him about it. How did he like the new format and all? He said, I didn't like it. Didn't like it. He's been there multiple times. He knows how it is. Wasn't competitive. He didn't like it. You know, a few other players that were asked about it. I heard the Victor Wembanyama audio as well to what you're talking about, where he said, no, I wanted to get out there and play. And that's the thing. There are a lot of kids in the stands. Forget about all the great stuff that you see where they show you all the celebrities and stuff and they're involved, and that's cool. They get the front row. They're sitting on the floor. It's all fantastic. You know what else matters? That 7, 8-year-old, that 10-year-old, that 12-year-old, that their parents spend a lot of money to pay for whatever city it's in for that kid to see that. And while they're probably mostly engaged because in the arena there's so much going on, that they are entertained. But it's not because of the play. It's just because of the other stuff that's going on, just the nonsense that I would call it, or even Kyle again saying that how it is. You're supposed to be out there playing for the fans. If the guys didn't, those big names, make the All-Star team, you know what they would also be doing? Complaining that they didn't make the All-Star team. Well, when you make the All-Star team, it's not just a list that you get to add to your resume. You actually have to go out there and do something when you're there for that weekend. Mm-hmm. Sure, you may want a break. That's why you're not starting until Thursday later in the week, because you get a break. But you take the money, you accept the bonus that you get from being an All-Star, you accept the ring that you get from being an All-Star, and you accept all of those things that come with it that you always get as a star player in this league, and you want that reputation of being so. You also have to carry that into a weekend where, yeah, you got to give a little bit more, just a little bit more, and then you have off after Sunday night, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's up to you and your team how you go about and getting back at the practice when you get back with your team in your city. But when you get out there, man, you got to do something about it, because you better believe when you don't make that All-Star team, player X, whoever you might be, you're going to be like, this is ridiculous. I should have made this All-Star team, and I know I'm better than that player or that player or that player. And then you get to the fans too, or players who don't make it and say, well, some say, well, this needs to be extended. The rosters need to be extended to 15 instead of 12. No, they don't, because there are going to be a decent amount of people who are just simply not going to give the effort. It's not, as Kyle talked about, it being a glorified 3-point shootout. I don't want to see that.
No.
I love that you have that range and you can shoot from half court. There are only a certain amount of players I want to see that. Steph Curry, Damian Lillard, Kevin Durant, maybe, Devin Booker if he's in the game, Tyrese Maxey for that matter if he's in it. Guys who have that range. But for the ones who are just pulling up just to pull up because the other guy's doing it, Trae Young can shoot from that distance too. I don't want to see that. I want to see somewhat competitive basketball.
And there's so I was thinking about
somewhat.
There are a couple things here. We're on the same wavelength on the. I was thinking about it over the weekend. Think about, like, what do you like about music, regardless of the genre, right? It's like there needs to be some sort of friction, right? It's how things play off of one another. You don't want things to clash, right? You don't want the drums to sound completely alien next to the voice and vice versa.
Sure.
But like, yeah. You want them to play off of one another. There needs to be some pushback in one direction or in both directions for it to come together as like a cohesive song. So the problem with the All-Star game, there is no friction, right? If it's a pull-up shooting contest from the logo, it's like, there is no defense. You play for that, right? There's no friction. Nobody's clashing. We were watching a clip from, I think it was the Golden State All-Star game like 20-something years ago, and somebody tried to use it as an example. It's like, the All-Star game's always been bad. Tim Duncan is going up and like going around the rim to try to contest a reverse dunk, right? Michael Finley is sinking down in a stance and trying to defend somebody. And some of it is also like, those guys were more mid-post, mid-range players. And so it was a lot of one-on-one basketball, right? Kobe Bryant going against Tracy McGrady, whatever it is, backing him down the mid-post, taking a hook shot. Kobe Bryant versus Grant Hill, LeBron versus Kobe. Like all these, you had these, even in like, do you remember? I think it was
Dion Waiters, man.
Dion Waiters. Was it against Kyrie or was it
No,
against?
it was Tim Hardaway
Against
Jr.
Tim Hardaway Jr., right?
Yeah.
Where
give him the ball. Clear out.
Part of the theater is those
out.
are just two guys going head to heads. And that's like, I don't want a one-on-one tournament. I want to see individual battles within a game.
Because that developed naturally within the game. It just happened. That's basketball. Stuff happens. And you know what? Kyle, you've been cooking him. I'm going over here. Here you go. Take that.
Exactly.
Just like what we saw in Team USA when they won the gold medal. Steph Curry was hot. What did Kevin Durant do? The ball came to him. Double team got off of Steph Curry. Right back at you. Why? Because this dude is hot, and I'm putting on the show, and that's exactly what it was. And the main culprit of this for years, when it was still it was competitive, but it was about the third and the fourth quarter of we got to turn it up, and we got to be in this and make this a real competition. We're talking to you, LeBron James, and we're coming to you after this break because we praise Anthony Edwards. When we had our under 25 draft, I left Anthony Edwards for Kyle, even though I had the number one pick. I went with Wembanyama because I knew Kyle loved. I love Anthony Edwards. LeBron and Anthony Edwards, we're coming to you after the break because what you guys did this weekend, that was wrong. And that was unfair to the fans and players. And we'll get to them.
I have one more thing before we hit the break because it's a comment from the chat that I think is also part of this issue. Mac Mon said, there aren't a bunch of kids in the stands, and that's the problem. It's all corporate sponsors in the seats. That's a sentiment that I really agree with. I think this is the All-Star game and a lot of these big events get to a point where you price out the people who would actually create an atmosphere for this, right? And you see, like, I've been to some of the All-Star weekend, like the practice, right? And those are more anybody can show up and go. That's where you see the real joy and the passion. And so, like, when cool stuff does happen, there's a great dunk, there's a great shot, like, there's more of a reaction, right? There's more because those are people who are truly invested in basketball, who are invested in the culture and not making money off of it. Not how you're using All-Star as a profit-making opportunity, but because it's a showcase for the game. And so that's a sentiment that I 100% agree with. They need to do something about, making sure this is an accessible event for the people who would actually enjoy the basketball there.
Not the people in the front row that you already know who they are. All right, when we come back, we'll get to that. We'll talk great stuff, MacMon. We'll come back. We'll talk about what LeBron and Anthony Edwards did that we were ticked off about. We'll get into that here on the PHLY Sixers Podcast on a Monday, presented by Bet365.
Guys, I don't know about you, but I like keeping my money where I can see it and, more importantly, where I can use it on things that we can enjoy in our day-to-day lives. But unfortunately, when you use the traditional big wireless carriers, they always seem to like keeping our money. If you're fed up with your crazy high wireless bill, bogus fees, and the air quotes free perks that actually cost more in the long run, I want you to switch to Mint Mobile with our good friend of the show, Ryan Reynolds. You can say goodbye to your overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, and unexpected overages. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you with premium wireless plans starting at just $15 a month. All plans come with high-speed data, unlimited talk and text, delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. I've told you guys many times. I made the conversion to Mint Mobile, get great service. It was an easy setup process. I was able to bring my own phone number, all my existing contacts, and even use the same phone that I already had. I didn't have to go through a whole complicated process. It wasn't, hey, you get a free this for signing in for 2 years. I just was set up right away. So ditch overpriced wireless and get 3 months of premium wireless service from Mint Mobile for $15 a month. If you like your money, Mint Mobile's for you. Shop plans at mintmobile.com/Sixers. That's mintmobile.com/Sixers. Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month 5 gigabyte plan required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details.
And I need to tell you guys about Ace Hardware. And with Ace Hardware, they just simply tell you, we got that. You need it, we got it. And right now you have leaky pipes potentially because the weather is all crazy, pipes freezing. You need it, they got it. Air conditioning issue that you need to have corrected before we get to the warm weather. You need it, they got it. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services and they'll get everything ready for you. So when you look at Ace Hardware Services, whenever you need to get that next job corrected, remember what to bring, right? Where they bring experienced local plumbers and techs that handle everything from repairs and seasonal maintenance, installations, and upgrades as well, bringing the understanding. They listen to your goals, and the job isn't completed until you are satisfied. They also bring helpful to your home so you can spend more of your time on projects that really matter. How about a wide range of residential maintenance, installation, and home repair services, and including plumbing, heating, cooling, and electrical needs as well. Emergency services are available for you when you need them most. Service that you can trust, satisfaction guaranteed. They make it right no matter what. They are local teams. They live and serve in their communities and are dedicated to keeping their neighbors comfortable in their home. So visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at www.acehardwareservices.com to get your project started right away. Once again, www.acehardwareservices.com to get your next project started with Ace Hardware. Welcome back to the PHLY Sixers Podcast, presented by Bet365. All right, let's talk about Anthony Edwards and LeBron James. Saw people talking about, he's 40, he may not be all that interested in it. That's fine. But again, when you want to retire at some point, same way Dirk and Dwayne Wade got that, whatever they call it, that extra spot on the team as they were retiring. And LeBron has made the All-Star team his entire career. He wants to keep that streak going. Mm-hmm. And you would imagine that the fans would keep that going for him as well. But for him to bow out, had ankle, foot problems, that's fine. But we knew Giannis and Anthony Davis were not going to play. And while they were injuries that they sustained in the field of play before the All-Star break, Adam Silver, as the guy who makes the injury replacement call, he did that. For Anthony Edwards and LeBron James to decide that they weren't playing for those respective injuries, that's cool. But as we talk about players, as you mentioned, fans and players of other teams that were deserving of it, missed out because you only have 12 spots on each team, they could have been replaced with injury replacement players. And because they did so on Saturday or Sunday, player X from whatever city did not have an opportunity to be there as an injury replacement. And that was wrong. That was flat out wrong from both of them.
Yeah, to your point, 100%. If they can't go, they can't go. But if you have any doubt on Thursday or Friday, that's something that you can ease. That's just, okay, everyone would understand. I'm a little banged up. This isn't feeling right. Give somebody else the opportunity to play. I think, honestly, I was more upset with the Ant side of it because there were conflicting reports over. Somebody said it was a groin. And then I want to say it was Mark Spears. I'm not 100% on that. Mark Spears came out and said he had a cold or something of that nature, that was the reason he missed it. And it's like, they can't even get the story straight on why these guys are missing the game. And that shows everything that we were just discussing about the seriousness with which these guys treat this game. Again, I am not expecting them to treat this like an NBA Finals or an NBA playoff game. That's okay, right? If they did, you probably are going to have injuries. You're going to have other things that happen that will ultimately be bad for that player, their team, and by extension, the league. But at some point, you have to actually show some level of care. and show some respect to these other guys that like the NBA is super talented right now, right? I know there are a lot of people who are like the league's watered down and this and that. There are a lot of really good deserving players. Like we talked about Tyrese Maxey, we didn't think deserved to make the All-Star team over the guys that made it, which was not saying he's having a bad season. It's not saying he's not an All-Star caliber player. It's saying, hey, Trae Young is having a better year. Tyler Hero, you could argue, is having a comparable year, right? Like I would probably put Maxey over Hero, but Trae Young ends up making it, and I think we all picked him over Maxey. And it's like, that's the depth of the league, right? Giannis goes out, all of a sudden Trae Young is in. That's what you want to see. And so for LeBron and Anthony Edwards to wait until the last possible moment, and it was even more ridiculous because it was like nobody even knew where he was until the game started and, oh, he's not playing. You think about someone we talked about, Norm Powell, who is having a career year. I don't know what he's averaging at this point, but he was averaging at one point like
score,
24 points a game for the Clippers. 24 points a game. He's shooting 43% from three.
And was there for the 3-point contest.
And was in the city. He was there to participate. And I would imagine he would have been happy to, even if he's not going out there and just like lighting people up, that's something that he could have treasured forever, right? First All-Star team at age 31. It helps tell a really cool story about a guy who's been a role player for different teams for all this time. And instead, it just becomes a conversation about, well, that sucks that LeBron scratched it. And LeBron, too, the thing that I think annoyed me with him was he's generally somebody who has always understood my presence and my compete level everywhere I go during the regular season and all these events really matters, right? Like I'm a standard bearer for the league, and he has generally embraced that as well as anybody, right? It's similar to Jordan in that way, right? Jordan knew and has said on the record, sometime this is going to be the only time a kid in this city gets to see me this year. So I'm going to come correct. I'm going to play hard. I'm going to give it my all. And I think LeBron has been really, really good in that way for the vast majority of his career. And so to see him not just like kind of be flippant about this event, I didn't like that, and I think he's better than that.
Yeah, he's the one that always talks about, again, going out there and giving your best. And okay, you couldn't give your best, but you knew this foot thing was probably a problem. Let somebody else, Norm Powell, take that spot. Anthony Edwards, same thing. If you weren't feeling well, let them know ahead of time. Maybe it's too late, maybe it's not. But somebody was looking forward to watching Anthony Edwards play. Mm-hmm. If it wasn't going to be Maxey or Norm Powell taking over in that spot, Jalen Green, or whoever
it would have
been. Someone was looking forward to seeing Anthony Edwards play, and they couldn't get a chance to see it. And so that part
would have watched him play for 5 minutes in that format,
but still, right? Yeah, but still, they would have been out there and able to go. And look, there may have been some people are traveling, and maybe some of those people that they thought about replacing were worthy of that spot, couldn't change their plans that last minute. Maybe. But guess what? The optics of it, what we're talking about on Monday, from Friday to Monday, nothing good has come from conversation from the All-Star weekend. And when I gave the numbers of the one-on-one tournament for $1 million or 5 p.m. start time, the dunk contest, man, I tuned in for 3 minutes on Saturday night to see All-Star weekend to see what it was looking like. It was awful. I was like, I'm out.
Listen, man, shout out Mac McClung, who's just
McClung.
He's putting on a show. And I get it, right? Because that stat was crazy that it was like he's now won more money in the dunk contest than he's made as an NBA player. But you brought up early in the show the tweets from Ja Morant and Giannis saying, "Oh, I want to do it. Mac might make me do it."
Not.
And Giannis was like, "If you do it, I'll do it." It's like, bro, the fact that
Zach LaVine was also one. Yeah, Zach LaVine.
The fact that these guys, it's like, I don't care. But it's all lip service. Just do it.
Yeah.
Just like, and the fact that guys have basically run scared from a G League guy where it's gotten to a point where it's, well, he's essentially running unopposed. And the best that you can do is, I like Steph Castle, right? But like, you're talking about rookies and young players and role players versus this back in the day, there were we're talking about Jordan versus Dominique, man. They're like, Kobe was in the dunk contest. Like the fact that if you want to really complain about LeBron's impact on All-Star Weekend, never doing the dunk contest is absolutely criminal.
That's the only stain on his resume, is that he should have done that. He should have done that one time.
And I think it's just, I get it. These guys are under a big microscope, right? So their failures are on a level of scrutiny that they just simply weren't compared to guys 30 years ago, 20 years ago, whatever. The way media works, it also makes the All-Star game less important to watch as it happens, because someone can pull up the highlights on their phone instantaneously after a game. But I think these guys are so obsessed with like image and the brand and all this stuff. They're like, they won't even accept the risk of, I participated in a dunk contest and I lost to that 6'2" white dude playing for the G League team for Orlando. It's like, bro, just go out there to compete, because competing is fun and winning is even better. Leave it all out there. And if you lose, you lose. At least you put on a show for the fans and you probably had some fun doing it. That's all it is.
Isn't that what it's about?
It's not gonna, your legacy is not going to be ruined because Mac McClung beats you in a dunk contest.
By the way, you might tweet something stupid anyway, right? That's going to get your image all in a twist somewhere anyway, because you tweeted something ridiculous and now you got to explain that part. How about, come on, man.
Anyway, Devon and I did this show going uphill both ways in the snow and get off our lawns. That's basically the summary here.
That's right. Shout out Mac McClung, man. Going out there. Do your thing. You got a sneaker contract out of it and everything. Jumping over a car. Good for you, my man.
Did you see? And by the way, shout out to him for this. I heard a story. I think he's donating that car that he jumped over. I'll double check on that so I'm not spreading. I believe he's donating it to charity, is what I heard. Which, unlike a lot of these guys, it's not like he's making a ton of money.
Yeah,
so
I'm sure there's a car that he probably really, really wanted, and all of that. But take that money. I mean, take that car, donate it, man. Yeah, he could have given that to a family member, but instead he's donating it to, and that's great. Again, shout out Mac McClung, man, for all of that, because they're scared. That's right, Mac McClung. They're scared of you, man. They don't let anybody else say anything.
So he's donating the car used in the dunk contest to a foundation in need in his hometown in Virginia, as reported by Shams over the weekend.
Love it.
That's doing the right stuff, right? It's putting on a show, and it's still keeping the bigger picture stuff at the forefront of your mind.
All right.
I don't know how Mac McClung became the face of All-Star Weekend.
Good for him. He's back next year, too. Even if he's not in the league, bring him back at G League or whatever. All right, let's talk about not. Talk
about Vacation P.
You want to talk about the big news first, or the
Pucker up P?
You know what, Bree?
I'm not going to show that picture.
Let's start with that one first, Bree. We'll get to the injections later. Let's get to the fun part.
Paul George enjoying his All-Star Weekend.
As he should. But it shouldn't be on social media.
And that's, look, we
saw, what I say last week, reading the room?
Read the room. We've talked about it with Joel a ton.
Read the room.
It's okay.
Keep that up there, Bree.
It's okay to spend the All-Star Weekend getting some downtime,
you
right?
should. You need a break.
Decompress, relax. Like, listen, we have some stressful times during this show,
Pucker up,
during our job, and I'm not posting pictures when people are mad at me, right? I might be decompressing. I might be getting away from it. I could be on the beach, but if I knew the people of this show were like, knives out, guns out, like this guy. And then I posted pinky out, drinking a flute of Prosecco or something.
Pinky out.
Come on, bro. Come on.
Nah, Jess, we can't show the other picture.
No,
we decided on this one, Jess.
No, everyone has seen the other picture from Paul's little getaway.
Pucker up P.
Is it his wife?
That's his wife.
He's out.
So, but see, that's the thing with this. She posted it.
Yes.
All right, first of all, I'm asking her, please don't. But she did it.
Just let her post
That's fine.
it. That's
let
okay.
Let her post
happy
it.
Happy wife, happy life.
Exactly. Let her post it. You don't then go follow it up and repost the picture. Read the room, man. Go on vacation. You need a break. Go have fun. Go enjoy time with your wife.
Prosecco P, man.
You need a break, man. You do. You need a break. You need to get away. You need to get some sun.
You're allowed to be a human being.
Yes.
That's
and
all
you're allowed
good.
to post whatever you want. But in this particular instance, after 54 games in which you've played 34, 36, you scored 2 points in your final showing to your...
I almost forgot that was the last game.
To your fan base. You scored 2 points, man. You cannot do that. You cannot do that. And that's where, again, you're not reading the room the right way. This is not Los Angeles, Oklahoma City, nor is it Indianapolis. This is Philadelphia. And right now, the record is flipped. And your performance in the first half of the season with injuries and what you have done out there on the floor, that's not helping you at all. Not one bit. And it's also bringing back the people from Los Angeles.
That's his handstand right there.
That is his handstand. You're absolutely right. From the people in Los Angeles that were telling Philadelphia fans, hey, guys, I'm telling you, this is not going to work out, all that. This is just giving them more ammunition, adding more fire to the flame of what this first half of the season of your Sixers tenure looks like. You need to once again read the room of what is going on right now in this city, with this fan base, with this organization of where we've talked about everything being wrong. Nothing. They've hit not one good note except for Maxey and Yabusele, Justin Edwards, maybe, right? That's the only good note. Everything else has been wrong. He needed to read that and understand that, fine, my wife wants to post this. That's great. I cannot then go like it. Like it. Just like it. That's it. Give it a thumbs up. Whatever you want to do. A heart. But don't repost it with your pinky out, with the splint, and a glass of wine. You don't do that part, man. That's all. That's all.
Paloma P, just really.
Because you know what's going to happen when you have
I'm
another.
trying to think of all the P-named cocktails and wines. Pinot Noir P.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Perrier Water P. Right? What the next time? What do they always say? And Jared McCain, you're right too. I'm sorry, Mary. I apologize. The next time he has a bad game, Kyle, what's going to happen? They're going to post that.
Listen,
that's where his mind is right now. He can't wait to
PG
get there.
Next time he has a 2-point second half, just sipping wine on the beach somewhere. So now let's connect that back to we did not discuss on Friday's show.
Yes,
it was right after Thursday's show ended that we got the report from Shams Charania on ESPN saying that Paul has been getting injections to play, that there's the amount of pain that he's dealing with, it has required him to do that. I know that those who were in Brooklyn on Wednesday night said that Paul talked openly about the difficulty of what he's dealing with the torn tendon. And we've been very clear and very consistent, right? If he can't play, he shouldn't play. And I certainly do have sympathy for people who are trying to, it's a pinky. Why can't he play through this? Like, it's a torn tendon. His finger it's like hanging like this, right? And he can't move it, can't straighten it. That's why he's wearing a splint. You can even see in that picture we put up there from the vacation, he still has a thing on the finger while he's at the beach, right? Like, if you look close on that left hand, you can see it right there. It is wrapped. It is taped, whatever you want to call it. So
he's showing his Rolex, so it's cool.
So I get it, right? This has been a nightmare season for him on multiple levels. Team record, individual success, injuries, all that. The vacation in and of itself, I'm never going to kill somebody for saying I need to get away.
Need a break.
And frankly, for humoring the wife who's like, we got to get away from these crazy people in Philly for a little bit.
We're not going to Oakland,
like Devon and
San Francisco. Devon and Kyle going nuts. Remo K said, man, that picture really triggered me. Yes, this is what you gotta go ahead.
It's just that the organization as a whole, just they don't seem to understand, or they haven't properly reinforced how dire this is and how mad / upset people are with where they are. And I do wonder, on a serious note, if this is the setup for they're going to tank. Because everything we saw leading into the break in the last 4 or 5 days, right? Just add them all up. Joel Embiid on a national broadcast, reporter saying he thinks he might need surgery. Tyrese Maxey bangs knees, misses a game, and that's one of the first games he's missed since very early season. Paul George, we know, has had an issue. He missed, what was it, a week and a half with it at the front end of it. He said after Wednesday's game, it's probably going to take another 6 weeks of wearing this splint. And then another report drops on Thursday saying this guy's doing something to be ready for games that typically guys wouldn't do unless you're in a playoff series and you like have to play. You could say maybe that that's planting the seeds, they're leaving the trail of breadcrumbs. And when we go to practice tomorrow night, at some point this week, we're going to get some bombshell news drops from the team, and they're going to say, hey, we're John Taffer. We're shutting this whole thing down. I don't know that that's the case. I haven't heard explicitly that that's the case. I'm just,
Hey, can I give you the 4 games remaining in the month? Can I give you the 4 games?
Of course you can.
3 home games and 1 road game. The first game on Thursday is against Boston at home. Tough. Second game at home, Brooklyn. Should be easy. They just lost to them.
Yeah, it should have been easy last time.
And it's a play-in opponent, right? You're battling them for the seeding. Third game, next Monday, Chicago. Another team. While they're supposed to be tanking, they're right there with you. And then the final game of the month in New York against the Knicks at the Knicks on Wednesday. So, to your point of, hey, man, you probably lose to Boston just because you lose to Boston. But if you lose to any of those 2 before you get to New York, you're already putting yourself in a really, really tough spot going forward for the 4 remaining games of the month of February. So you're right. You are right. You are right. Then they have Golden State, Jimmy Butler coming to town with Steph on a Saturday. That's going to be crazy. Fun. That is going to be fun. That's a Saturday night, 8:30 game. So that part won't be fun for the late night that it is. But Portland playing better. Oh, God.
You said 8:30?
8:30. I'm looking at it right
now.
Oh, no. Yeah.
No. I'm going to be at that arena till like 1 in the morning.
Yes, you are.
God.
Portland on Monday playing better. So while we said the schedule
Portland's playing hard, man. Like they've been really good. Well, not really good is overstating, but they've been good recently.
And that's one of the 5 back-to-backs, Kyle, in the month. 5 back-to-backs in the month. That's the first of the 5. So I'm saying that to say, while we said the schedule was easy, leaning towards what you're saying as part of this conversation wouldn't surprise me at all. That we finally get to let's put these guys, the fan base, out of their misery and just call it for what it is. They're going to shut some guys. Maybe they're going to shut some guys down and just call it for what it is. So
they lost 5 in a row and 7 of 8 heading into the break. And normally the All-Star break, those games leading in are hard to read into for most teams because of the various, like, dealing with injuries and the motivation and whatnot. Like, hey, we just got to get to the break. You see some weird losses during that time. This team doesn't have the luxury of suffering weird losses, right? So we'll see what they have on Thursday and the next few, and that'll be very telling for where they're headed.
It really is. So, Paul George, enjoy your vacation, man, but next time just keep it between you, your wife, and, let her do that, and you just like
what
it.
What did Jay-Z say? Smarten up, Nas. That's Joel and Paul. I would apply that to you. Just be a little smarter. That's all I'm asking.
Shampipple P, man. Shampipple P. Sanford and Son. Red Fox on the show used to combine champagne and
the
Ripple.
Legend Red Fox.
Champagne and Ripple and call it Shampipple. So Shampipple P. All right, folks, before we step away, we want to say first, we're going to keep it going here on the show, but we want to tell everybody on Fast, if you're watching it on TV, on Fast, that to make sure you switch over to allphly.com and continue to watch us here on YouTube and hang out with us. Also, we told you about the Gold Standard collection at store.allcitynetwork.com. Go sign up to become a diehard member. Also, want to say, first of all, thank you, sign up to continue to build the subscriptions for where we are with the diehard.
Yes, sir.
But we're also, I'll say it, we're at over 41,000 now with our YouTube subscribers. So, folks, we want to thank you and ask you to continue to keep passing and spreading the word. We know we always have fun with our good people. Love somebody in the chat. Keep telling everybody. Like and subscribe. 2-hour show, 2-hour network at on YouTube at PHLY Sports because we're over 41,000. We are aware that the Super Bowl really helped things out, and the coverage that the guys had was amazing.
Incredible stuff.
Amazing. The best
Boots
coverage.
on the ground, the guys in the studio, the production team, like everybody working real hard to make sure we're all pushing in the right direction.
Spread the word.
And it doesn't go anywhere without support from you guys. So we obviously really appreciate it.
Because at the very least, what you're going to get is a great offseason from them. You're going to get a great offseason from us in a different way from what it was last summer.
Oh, yeah.
Charlie with Flyers and Bill, right? They're killing it. And then you got the Phillies starting
back up. And they have interesting all-star adjacent material to cover,
yes,
by the way.
Yes, they do. And then Tyler Zulli restarting the Phillies coverage that's going on with spring training getting underway. Yep. It's going to be a fun time for us here at PHLY Sports, and we thank you, and we ask you to continue to just simply spread the word. That's how we've gotten it out there. Spread the word for us all at PHLY Sports.
And if you do, maybe Derek will even show up next time.
Maybe he will do that. Maybe the post-parade hangover is complete and he can get back.
Parade flu.
You know what? Let's talk about that and then we'll get to the Super Chats because Friday was fun, man. We snuck in here to do the show and then we went right back out and celebrated even more because it was fantastic. Where were you? What was your location? What were your takeaways from the parade?
I was on Broad. I was it was like Broad and Christian, Broad and Washington or so. And it was honestly, so the previous parade, I was by a buddy's place off of Spruce. And obviously I know it was super crowded near the art museum this time. Like I saw the pictures but when we went back in the day, like, about 7 years ago,
2018,
they had the last parade. That intersection on Spruce was like rows of 30 people deep. And we were there for 4 hours before the parade and just like in this mess of bodies. I walked up to Broad and Christian, like, I don't know, let's say 10 minutes before it was about to start. And I was like the second person and so it was nice. I got to just like walk around a little bit. The sidewalks were clear. So I guess everybody decided this time I need to be near the speeches, maybe.
But see, it looked packed though from where.
Oh, it was so crowded, but it was like a manageable crowd.
Okay.
Where last time, I'm not going to repeat the things I saw on the show. Not really, but people were doing some pretty flagrant things in broad daylight because they could not move. And so it was, I felt like it was a more family-friendly atmosphere this time around. And it was also like, hey, it wasn't the first one. And so it was, now you're starting to feel that feeling of people are expecting to win. And actually, the thing I thought was cool this time around was the guys just walking down the street for a lot of that walk up Broad Street. Seeing the videos later of Quinyon Mitchell and Nolan Smith.
They needed Z-Biotics, man. Because those dudes
I
enjoyed it.
I was not inebriated in any way at this parade, and I was like, man, that is one of the drunkest people in America right now. When I saw both Quinyon and Nolan Smith getting the escort from the cop vehicle, he like accidentally kidnapped a kid. Yeah. That was crazy.
One of the
Very
teammates
funny.
had like Thomas Booker,
hey brother,
somebody.
that ain't your kid.
Yeah. And then he later he sent a message on social media. It was like, I had 1 beer, 2 beer, 3 beer. He enjoyed himself. Yes, exactly. He kept counting those things up, man. Quinyon Mitchell. Shout out James Bradbury for being the vet and the pro, because I think it was Fox 29 that was trying to interview him. And he was like, go Birds! And he jumped right in front of it and had to save the rookie because, yeah, man, those dudes out there in T-shirts, and they weren't feeling the cold because they were warm. They were definitely
Jalen
warm.
Carter and CJ came right up to us on Broad. I actually, looking back at it, I saw Bo sent along some pictures and videos. I think him and I were pretty close at one point. And I just, there are enough people that you just can't see anybody.
Yeah.
But
it was dope.
Grand old time.
It was dope. Bree, crack the mic. Where were you?
I went to Broad and South at like 8:30 because I had
You weren't
no
that
choice.
far from me, honestly. I'm surprised I didn't run into you.
I walked right up and I was like, we could have came in like 3 hours. This is crazy. But yeah, really right at the barricade, and I saw Landon, Jeremiah. They were like right at the at the posts. So it was cool. I didn't see Jalen though. I guess he was on the other side of the bus.
I think he might have been when he crossed like that part of the parade. I think he might have ducked under for a little bit into the bus because I didn't see him either. And then I looked at where he was at on the broadcast, and it was like, oh, he's right at the front.
I didn't see him. I didn't see Saquon. But like, I'm cool with it. But the people in like my section were so visibly upset. They're like, "What do you mean it's over?"
Yeah.
I'm like, guys, like, there's no more buses. Like, it's over.
What time did you get out there? Since Bree got out there at 8:30.
Oh, I was up there at 11. I just took it real easy.
Yeah, same. I was 11:30, somewhere around there on the side of the art museum. You guys are familiar with the bridge crossing over from the University City area, like the Mantua Bridge, right behind on the side of the art museum. So we parked down there, walked over. I was with my brother, my brother-in-law, my nephews, my nephews and my cousin. So we all walked over, and we were just on the street. We weren't in the grass because didn't feel like dealing with all the mud. We experienced that last time in 2018 with all the mud and the grass. But we had a good view. We could see the screens that were out there. We could see the stage. It was visible enough, and it was pretty cool. The mayor is still speaking. Right now, I saw her when I drove up here today. She's still talking, and but we had a really good view of the entire thing, and saw a couple of people that I knew. One of my best friends was on the other side. My brother left us. He and my cousin and my nephew, they left us. They said we would be right back. First of all, you're not coming right back. So they wound up on 20th and Market. Then they come back. They get lost in the middle of the crowd, right in front of the stage area. He's calling like, "Where are y'all? Did y'all leave?"
It's like,
no, we're still in the same spot, man. And then they wind up coming back. My best friend, he was on the other side of where Spring Garden, right there at Spring Garden, right off of the drive in Spring Garden. So he found his way over to us as well. It was just crazy. And then again, the mayor's still talking. So
we will not get into the actual politics, right? But
no.
Watching those, Shapiro kept it a little short.
He was way
much shorter.
Yeah.
If you are a politician at a sporting parade, your job is to get up there, yell like a maniac for about 15 seconds and get the heck off.
I give you 30 seconds.
30 seconds is fine, right? But the whole point is, all you have to do is make a joke about how no one's here to see you. Right. You're so proud of the Eagles. You lead an EAGLES or whatever it is.
ELGLES, however she spelled it the first time. Have some fun.
Get off the stage. The wrap it up chants were absolutely hysterical. Like,
she did that to herself.
Has nothing to do
with the
politics.
This is who we want to hear from.
People are there to see the team and hear the players and the coach and the GM. Just get out of there. Get out while the getting's good, right? Who was your favorite speech from Friday?
It wasn't her. My favorite one, Brandon Graham.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was my favorite. Brandon Graham was my favorite one. I love when he was able to post up both trophies next to him and show that flex, because you talked about it when I asked you guys after the championship was won who you were most happy for. And you mentioned Brandon Graham because of the Earl Thomas start, the injuries that kept him off the field after even the Earl Thomas start, getting to the Super Bowl for Earl Thomas, and then ultimately changing to this guy's a legend. He is going to be in the Eagles Hall of Fame. I'm not saying the NFL Hall of Fame or Pro Football Hall of Fame. He's an Eagles Hall of Famer. He is a legend. He is the epitome of a guy who just worked. And when we talk about athletes and we looked at what's going on with the NBA All-Star game, if that guy was in an NBA All-Star game, he's going to play. And when you speak about the fans and all that, he always makes time. And that's who Brandon Graham is. So he was my favorite. And when you say who I want to hear from, I wanted to hear from him. And
I'm glad he got to go last.
He did not disappoint.
It was very fitting.
Yeah, he did not disappoint because some people might expect, he's going to go out there and he's going to be loud because he's the one that's always talking on the field and all that. Nope. He went up there and did the total opposite.
He was himself.
But you also know that is him too. Mm-hmm. And that's why he was my favorite.
So loved his speech. Landon Dickerson really got me too. I never played an away game. I was like, yeah. Like, that was great. And even though it was very short, the AJ Brown, like
Exactly.
they can say this, they can say that, they can do this. I'm a
champion.
I'm a champion.
Yep.
Right. Like that was awesome. So it's all great, right? There was no Jason Kelsey's speech necessarily, but he's also like not many Jason Kelce's out there. So I liked hearing from everybody who got up there just because it's a shared achievement, right? That's the beauty of team sports. Everybody's coming at it from all their different perspectives, and these guys do seem locked in on, hey, let's go get another one if we can.
Boy, if there was a team that sounded just like that, it's them. They had fun, but they're like, all right, the maniac that AJ Brown is like, I'm going back to work tomorrow. And same thing with Devontae Smith. I'm going back to work tomorrow. And we already know the maniac of Jalen Hurts and who he is.
Wait, by the way, one more thing from the Parker speech. That clip, I didn't even notice it real time because I was so droned out. The nothing is possible if we work together. Come on, man.
I saw Rich tweet it first, and I was like, I didn't hear that part because I had tuned her out at some point. And Rich tweeted it out. And by the way, he got like thousands of likes and retweets on it. Because he was like, the first
is possible if we work together.
Nothing is possible.
Come on, man.
That's why you don't stay up there as long as you do.
When they do the first "Come On, Man" of next NFL season, that should be the first one.
That could be ours. We could do that ourselves. We should make that a segment here on the show. Nothing is possible, courtesy of the mayor. Hey, look, it's all fun and games because shout out to her for what she does and all that. And we're not talking about politics. We're just talking about. We wanted to see this.
Not every speech is a winner.
No, it's not. It's not. All right, let's get to our super chats from Friday that we were so much into the parade that we forgot our super chats. Let's start off with the first super chats here from, who was it? Shizzo?
Last thing you want is Maxey and his agency, Clutch Sports, Rich Paul, to grow impatient with the Sixers' inability to put a consistent core around him. That's from Bree. Can you read that name? Because that's a little small for us.
Shizzo Flex.
All right, Shizzo Flex.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've talked about this a little bit recently, right? That you don't want to put Maxey in a position where he starts saying, we've heard from him about how tough this year has been on him at times. And you don't want him season after season looking around and be like, I got nobody here to help me. I'm the only star that's available, blah, blah, blah. Like that's one of the real risks of the injury plagued, load management. Oh, we're not taking the regular season seriously thing because unfortunately, you do still have to play those games. And Maxey is getting his head kicked in a lot of these nights. So I think that's a perfectly salient point.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, man, if things start to go south next season, it won't happen this year, I don't think. So that's just my opinion. I don't think that would happen this year. You kind of look back to where it started this season. Because the museum, the Maxey Museum, all of that and all that worked out perfectly and everything. Sometimes those things wear off though. And this might have been when you have a season like this, getting your teeth kicked in every night. You're the only one out there, with all due respect to the others who have, Yabusele, Justin Edwards, who have leveled up and what they're doing. Maxey already had to tell Embiid about his tardiness in the first meeting. Paul George gets injured, got it. But you know what also? Maxey sees Paul George in practice. He might look so much better. When he gets out in the game, it's a different thing. All right, I can't do this for 3 more years. I'm out. I want out. And Rich Paul is one of those guys who's saying, oh, I can make that happen.
He will kick up some dust,
I can make that happen. And that's exactly, as you pointed out, what you don't want. Shizzo, thanks. Let's get to the second Shizzo one, which was Sixers need to prioritize.
Look at that, Bree made it bigger for us on our screen.
I pulled it up in our chat just in case. Thank you, Bree. Sixers need to prioritize getting talent that fits around Maxey's timeline. This is his franchise. You can't depend on Embiid. Maxey isn't as talented, but you can bet on his desire and will to win. It's time.
So Shizzo, I would say I do think that the organization, not in a big way, but in a minor way at the deadline, is kind of aligning with that, right?
Sure.
They're getting Quentin Grimes. They bring in Jared Butler. Now, Butler is a much smaller piece, right? We look at Grimes as he's going to be at least a long-term role player, maybe a 5th starter type guy if it works out on the high end. But that was a trade explicitly made with this guy's 24 years old. He's a good athlete, good shooter, good defender, and fits might help you win now, but is also he's going to grow along with Maxey, and for the entirety of Maxey's prime, if he is here, Grimes will be right along that same trajectory. So I do think that there are, even if it's more minor stuff, they're showing you that is a thought, and that's happening right now.
Yep, absolutely. I agree with that 100%. Then I'll even go to this. When we talked about how they were playing during that 4-game winning streak, the other 2 that they lost, so 4 and 6, Boston and Denver taking them down. When we talked about, hey, these guys are playing this way with them. Is that sustainable to make a playoffs? Probably not, but it's more entertaining. They're playing team basketball. It's more fun. They're competitive. They're out there. They're in these games. We saw it already. We saw how it worked. So if in the event that George has to sit for the 5 more weeks and be the shutdown for the remainder of the season, at least you'll probably get a good product out there of players competing and giving effort. Despite the fact that you may want that draft pick, you want to be in that top 6 so you can get a good crack at one of those players. We saw what it looked like. And maybe our post-game shows and our pre-game shows and even our 3 p.m. shows will be at least a little more fun to discuss the basketball team, despite what we're accustomed to.
As long
with
as
playoffs.
Jared McCain is back and healthy, I think that'll help us a lot too.
I agree.
That really was a real vibe killer.
Yeah, it was. And our final super chat from Friday, once again, is furious. Could it get to a point where Maxey and Rich Paul?
So same vein as Shizzo. Yeah, I mean, look, there's always a point, right? I agree with Devon, what you said. I don't think it's this year, and I don't think it's super short term, but anymore, guys are if they're itching to go, it comes together pretty quickly, right? I know that different contract situation. De'Aaron Fox came out in mid-January, or late January. Hey, look, I don't want to be here at this point, and they made a trade happen before the deadline. So it doesn't. There is no indication to me that I've gotten that Maxey's looking for an exit door, but you have to stay vigilant, right? That's why these teams. You saw, honestly, the other side of that Fox trade is a great example of it, right? Victor Wembanyama in year 2 is already so good that the Spurs are even if we think Fox will come here in free agency in a year and a half, it is worth getting him now and trying to start building something real while this guy is here and happy. And that's the type of urgency that happens when you have players that are all-stars, that are competing for honors like that. So you always have to keep in your mind, it's great that we have this guy, but even if he's locked in for 4 years, 5 years, whatever it is, that's no guarantee that he's going to be here that whole time.
Absolutely. So we appreciate the super chats once again from Shizzo and Furious with those from Friday. Apologies,
a few days
again.
Late.
Apologies, but we got those in. Hopefully you all saw those, and we're running them now. This was a fun one, especially the parade conversation of having
talking
about
a different sport for a little bit again.
Yeah. So again, folks, we appreciate it. Let's get ready to give the world famous roll call on this Monday. Also, our schedule: we're here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We have a game on Thursday, off on Friday. And we are back on Saturday.
I believe it's Saturday.
Saturday.
Yeah.
So games on Thursday and Saturday for us as well. Bree had the schedule up earlier, so you probably saw it.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you to Bootzilla.
Boots.
Thank you to Marcus Blackstock.
What up,
Joaquin from Cherry Hill. We got Yams Colangelo in the building, who, as usual, is I think early on was on the make the All-Star game matter with home court in the finals tip. And now once we got past the All-Star, it's Daryl Morey is a liar, a charlatan, and a harlot. Yams, we've had plenty of discussions about Daryl, and I would guess they'll continue as the rest of this nightmare season continues on.
Yes, it will.
Gavini is here. Who else is here? INS is here. Money Mar.
What up, Mar?
Hanging out with us. John Peace, We have a couple late arrivals in PHLY and Daniel Berry Sports Highlights.
What up, PHLY? I know you're late, but you can go back and watch it on YouTube.
Yes, you can. Hello to both of you. We
Appreciate
got Remo K.
What up, Remo?
Our guy Al, the 2-minute warning.
What up, Al?
Who else is in here? Jess is hanging out. And Jess, I think, said no Winona today. She must be busy. So
shout out to do.
Shout out to my girl Winona,
hey,
who's doing things that are more important, I suppose, right now.
Thanks
but thank you, Jess. Prophet 1 hanging out with us. Malk C10 hanging out with us. What
up,
else
Malk?
we got here?
Do we need Prophet P? Can we go? No.
Prophet P.
No, we can't go Prophet
Sal's
P.
in the building.
What up, Sal?
We got my guy Darkness.
Turn the lights down for the Sixers in the first half
in the
of
building.
season.
Lou is in the building. Not to be confused with my dog Louie. Thank you, Lou, for hanging out. I don't think I can scroll up any further, so it's really about who's at bottom. Hedfa, I know, was in here quite a bit today. Hedfa's got a lot of ideas on how to fix All-Star 3-on-3.
And Hedfa did check out the women's 1-on-1 in the league over there. Said it was good. So
look, Daryl Morey is actually in the chat and says, "I love you, Yams." Look at that.
Appreciate it, Daryl. Get some notes from us, Daryl.
This is what happens when you stop by PHLY.
Some notes from us, Daryl.
Sixers show. Guys, thank you to everybody who was here today. Obviously, we love and appreciate your support always. As Devon said, subscriber count's going up. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Hit that subscribe button and get the bell icon clicked on so you get notifications each and every time we go live.
Sounds like that.
Hit that thumbs up button as well to help us bring in more people, but also to say thank you to super producer Bree, who, unlike Derek, is here today.
Absolutely.
Thank you, everyone. We'll be back tomorrow for another weekday show at 3 p.m.
And our show, as always, brought to you by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus, physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Thank you, gang, for stopping by. We'll see you tomorrow.
See ya.
We all silly like the mayor.